Hey guys, Ian Flanagan here, eXp Realty, Dallas, Texas. And on this week's Freedom Friday Mastermind, we have the one and only Scott Lewis. He's going to be sharing his incredible story about being with the company and building the company over the last several years. He's also going to talk about how he brought on Pat Hayes, and Pat's going to share his story about how the company has changed his life. But he's also going to be sharing some intimacies of the mastermind that went down a few weeks ago in Puerto Rico with leadership in Glen Sanford. So if you have any questions, comments, type those in below and share this with your team members. I hope you enjoy this video.
Let's go ahead and kick it off. And again, mute yourself so there's no background noises if you can, and put those cell phones away, because guys, this is going to be powerful next 45 minutes or so. And I just want to kind of share with you real quick my story, how I became a part of eXp. So back in December of 2015, I just finished my second year in real estate, and I get this phone call from Scott Lewis. I'd never heard of Scott Lewis and never heard of eXp. He called me and said, I want you to have an open mind. Do you have an open mind? I said, I sure do. He goes, have you ever heard of eXp? I said, I have not. He goes, I would love to talk to you about, the fastest growing brokerage firm. Agents are being compensated very well. And I would love to talk to you about this opportunity. Well, then I was super happy where I was at. And, I said, no, I said, thanks, but no thanks, but let's connect in January. And 2 hours later, my whole real estate world turned upside down. My brokers were in the news for doing something bad. And so what did I do? I picked up the phone and I called Scott back and I said, Scott, you called me 2 hours ago about this new company called eXp. I need to make a move. My brokers were just announced in the news for doing something wrong. I'm their number one agent. I'm their face of their company. I need to make a move extremely fast. Let's talk. He goes, okay, I'm so sorry about what happened, but let's connect on Facebook. We connected on Facebook. He sent me a short video. I watched a short video. I was blown away with the business model. I called him back up. I said, when can we meet? He said, you know what? Let's meet tomorrow. I've got some of my friends in town from eXp, and I think you would like to meet them. I said, okay, great. Well, my dad and I met him the next day, and I had never met Scott before. We met at a coffee shop over at the Alon in San Antonio over by the Rim, and a 45-minute meeting turned in about 4 hours. And those two other gentlemen at the table were Rob Flick and Gene Frederick. And I said, wow. And so I heard all of their stories and I was just blown away. And I shared with them my story that I needed to make a move. And I said, this is perfect timing. Let's go. Let's do this. I have the napkin presentation. Gene Frederick wrote everything out on the pieces of papers that we still have about the revenue share and the stock and our model and how we're a disruptive technology. And, we're agent owned. We've got revenue share and we've got equity awards. We got stock. And I was just blown away. My dad was blown away. I said, I'm all in. Let's do this. Right. And so a 4-hour meeting, we left and we were just on fire. We were on cloud nine. About 30 minutes after we left that meeting, I had the number one KW broker here in San Antonio, Craig Owen, call me and said, hey, I just found out about what happened with your boutique brokers. You need to make a move. And now this is the time for us to work together at KW. I said, well, Craig, I just met with all the leaders at eXp. I'm going to be hanging my hat at eXp because of their business model. He goes, hey, give me at least 1 hour tomorrow. I want to share with you what I can give you. And I said, okay, I respect you. You are a good leader in the industry. You're a great leader in San Antonio. You're a good friend of mine. Sure, I'll take that 1 hour meeting, but I'm really leaning towards eXp. And he goes, all right, let's meet 1 hour tomorrow. I said, I can't go to your office. Let's go to your house. So my dad and I met him at his house. Still to this day, he says that we didn't come over to his house. It's so funny. My dad's a witness. We were there for like 3 hours. Right. And so we went over to his house, and at the end of the meeting, 3 hours, I said, all right, Craig, what are you going to offer me? I got to get ready to go. I got to go pick up the kiddos with Angel. And he says, all right, I want to give you 100% commission. I'm going to give you all rebranding, new business cards, new signs, everything to come over. I'm going to give you a free office for your team for a whole year. I'm going to give you mentorship from myself. And I'm going to help you grow your business from, I just finished my second year at 12.5 million. And he said, I'm going to help you grow your business. And I said, thanks. Okay. I said, well, Craig, I need all of that. But I said, can you answer these 3 questions? He says, yeah. What do you got, Pat? I said, Craig, can you give me revenue share and not profit share? He says, no, I can't do that. I said, okay. Second, can you give me stock? Can you give me equity awards? Can you give me stock ownership in KW? He said, no, Pat, we're not publicly traded. I can't do that. I said, all right, third, can you give me conversion for free? Back then it was called conversion. Now it's called KB Core. Can you give me conversion for free to help me generate massive amounts of buyer and seller leads? He says, no, I can't do that. It's too expensive. That's not our business model. I said, all right, Craig, you just help me make my decision. I'm taking my team and my business over to eXp. And he literally looked at me and my dad, he goes, damn, you're going to do good. I said, Craig, it's not about doing good. It's about, I have something to offer that no other agent has to offer. And guys, since then, I moved my small boutique, my small team over from that boutique brokerage firm over to EXP, and just finished my 6th year, starting my 7th year. I've been able to personally sponsor 55 agents to the organization that just rolled over to 4,600 agents this week, spanning 47 states, 5 Canadian provinces, in 11 countries, paying me over 6 figures a month in revenue share, right? And so whenever I say life-changing, the man that gave me the phone call, Scott Lewis, changed my life, changed my family's life, right? And so don't be afraid to pick up the phone. I was on a up-and-comers list here in real estate here in San Antonio for coming out of the gate your first 2 years of your real estate production, and my numbers were just skyrocketing through the roof. And so Scott literally picked up the phone and started at the top of the list and started calling, at the bottom of the list. And, I'll let him kind of share his story too. He wasn't feeling good that day, but he had Gene Frederick and Rob Flick coming in for a few days for some interviews, and he needed to line up a few interviews. And I was one of those interviews, and it's forever changed my life. And so without further ado, my good friend, Scott Lewis. Scott, welcome to the call. Thank you for everything, man. I love you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic, Pat. Thanks for having me on your show here, you and Ian. I think it worked. What do you think?
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know what? It's been a fun. It's been a fun. Almost going on 7 years now. And I can't thank you enough. And every time I see you, and every time I just give you a big old hug and just say thank you, because that's how powerful this opportunity is. I mean, it's changed my life. Just one phone call that I got, one phone call that I received, just like you hear the phone call from Brent Gove and Sheila Fezeron. Sheila picked up the phone and called Brent Gove, changed her life. That's what it did for me. Scott picked up the phone and called me, and it's changed both of our lives, because we've been running hard. We're in the trenches for the first 3 or 4 years growing this business. And, now he's sitting over there in Puerto Rico. Is that your backyard there in Puerto Rico?
That is. Yeah, we're staring right up my backyard.
That is awesome. That is awesome. Well, I just want to say, man, thank you for everything. And for a lot of these new agents on, I can't believe we've got 139 agents on, Ian. This is incredible. But tell everybody a little about who Scott Lewis is. Your background, just a Cliff Note version of your background, your success at EXP, and then we'll go into all of the good stuff that's happening at EXP, and all the good stuff that was shared at Puerto Rico at the Mastermind.
Well, I just got one thing to say, Pat. I don't know about the rest of you guys, but 7 years, Bob Hayes and I are the only ones getting better looking. The rest of you guys are going the other way. Bob and I, we're de-aging, we're de-stressing and de-aging. Every time I look at Bob, I go, man, he's looking good, right? So
yes,
it's so good to be with you guys. And, wow, there's so much we could talk about, Pat, as you know. I mean, 6 years of starting our 7th year here, and 6 years of just, having a great time, really, and changing an industry. And people said, we were crazy. Penny stock company, why are you doing that? They even resorted to lying about us, right? Somebody just shared their screen, the Trey group.
Let's see here. Let me
Families, homes connected.
There we go. Okay, we're back.
All right, cool. So there's so many opportunities within this model. And as you mentioned, I did make that phone call, and probably the best phone call I've ever made. And, I tell agents all the time, you are one phone call away. That's it. You are one dial away from financial freedom. And you never know when that dial is going to show up. You never know. All right. It could be your next phone call to a LinkedIn prospect in Spain. It could be your next phone call to a Facebook connection in the Philippines. I mean, you just don't know. But my question to you is, how many Pat Hayeses are there out there? The answer to that is one. There is only one Pat Hayes. And I was lucky enough to be able to make that phone call. So, but there are other people out there that will go out and crush and kill this model. I guarantee you that. And I will tell you this. And when we started, Pat, I remember we were making prediction, and I was telling people we were going to be 50,000 agents in 3 years. And everybody said, you're nuts. If we weren't recording this, I'd put an adjective in front of that. But I mean, everybody said we were crazy. We were smoking crack, right? And the truth is, I knew we weren't, and you knew we weren't. And we were committed to growing this company. And we got up every single morning, we put our pants on, and we went to work. And we just one at a time, we started changing agents' lives. And it's so cool to do a call like this 6 years later and not know most of the people on here.
That's right.
I mean,
Yeah, there's a lot of new faces on here that I don't even know. That's right. That means we're doing something. That means we're growing.
Think about the power of that. I mean, I remember doing lunch and learns, and we were happy if 2 people showed up.
Oh yeah.
2, oh my God, corner them, surround them. Right?
Guys, that's right. I mean, that's a true story. Whenever we started, I mean, yeah, we would have 2 guests show up, and we were tickled pink. I'm like, God, 2 guests showed up. All right, let's do the presentation. And those 2 guests signed up, and then the next week, we had four guests, and then those 4 guests signed up, and that's how we started growing. Yeah, back in the day, yeah, 5 years ago, 5-6 years ago.
Yeah. So I think the biggest thing is we always had faith in what we were building. We believed in ourselves. We believed in each other. We poured into each other. We had our ups and downs, guys. I mean, Pat and I didn't always see things eye to eye. I mean, we had issues, we had challenges. There were times where he wanted to kick my ass, right? I mean, there were times where he didn't like what I was saying. There were times I didn't like what he was saying. But we were both running in the same direction, and we respected each other as leaders, and we respected each other that we were changing an industry together. And I just look back on them now as it's just little Puerto Rican speed bumps, man. I mean, we had some Puerto Rican speed bumps, and we got through them, but we were committed to the course. We were committed to changing lives. And hey, you think EXP's got problems now? Trust me, you don't have a clue. We couldn't even onboard agents then. Pat would recruit somebody. I'm like, okay, you recruit them, we'll onboard them. Because I mean, it was a nightmare.
Oh yeah, Remember, Scott? Remember those nights I was so frustrated that I would recruit an awesome agent, and then it would take a month to get them onboarded, and then they would leave. I would call you at 11, 12 o'clock at night, still in my office, grinding, so pissed off, calling you saying, I just lost this agent that I've been working on for 3 months. I mean, we were in the trenches back then. Remember those calls? I was so pissed off. I would call you for an hour.
And I was pissed off, and so I would call Gene, and Gene would call Rob, and then we'd be on the phone 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, yelling, going, what the hell, and don't they understand what we're doing? And why can't they onboard our people? Why can't they pay them on time? Why can't they close their deals? Why won't they accept this agent? They can't, and getting into the world, oh my God, they'd want to have meetings in the world, and they would crash it. So lots of great stories. But the bottom line is, guys, we changed an industry. And right now, today, and I can honestly say this to you, Pat, right now, this second, I am more excited about the opportunity of what we're building than I have ever been.
Amen. Right back at
I have never been this excited. And the reason is because I know what's coming. I know it. I know what's happening, and I know where we're going, and I know where some of you are going to be 5 years from today. And we're going to have these same stories. Remember when, and so guys, stay the course. You are in the right place at the right time. I promise you that.
Yep.
You could all quit tomorrow except for Pat. Pat, you can't quit. But the rest of you could quit, and it wouldn't affect my income that much. How would you like to be in a place where 100 people could quit your team and it wouldn't affect your income that much? See, that's an incredible place to be, because when I owned a Century 21 office, we lost 30% of our agents every single year, which means if I didn't grow by 31% every single year, I was going backwards. And now I could throw this gadget in the ocean or this pool behind me, and I could not do a thing for 2 years. And I know my team's going to go from 6,000 agents to 16, 20,000 agents.
Yep.
There's no question. I know the company's going to 500,000 agents. The question is, do you believe you can do it? Do you believe you have the skill set? And many of you don't believe you can do it. And so how do you go from not believing to believing? How do you go from doubt to strength? How do you go from fear to confidence? How do you go from 0 to 100? How do you go from 100 to 1,000? It's all right here.
Yep.
And if you can believe it, you can achieve it. Have you ever heard that before? If you can believe it, you can achieve it. And it's never been more real than today. And the opportunity is alive and well. And there's no other opportunity in the world like it, period. There's not.
Yeah.
Because if there was, somebody would have showed it to me, because I get 4 to 5 calls every single week, people showing me the next EXP or the next big thing, right? And you get them too, Pat. It doesn't exist. Bring them. I love to look at them, but the fact is, it just, I see people get distracted. I see them move. I see them chase squirrels, and I go, oh God, they just don't know what they have.
That's right.
And that's my fault.
Yep.
So that's my fault. As a leader, I need people to understand what they have. And so I'm excited about where we're going, but more importantly, I'm excited about the people on this call today that I don't know.
Yeah.
That have an opportunity of a lifetime.
Yeah, I mean, Scott, Ian, we got over 152 on the call. This is obviously our largest call because we are always maxed out at 100. But man, this is great. And Scott, I mean, you motivate me all the time. I know you motivate all the agents. Not just in Team Disruptor, but at EXP. I know, you are very, very, very successful. You've been in the industry for a long, long, long time. Maybe just kind of share with everybody, how many agents you've personally been able to sponsor. And you said your rev share group's gotten over to 6,000 agents. Wow, that's incredible. Obviously you're living the good life over there in Puerto Rico, hanging out, playing golf with Brent Gove and Gene Frederick, all that good stuff. But just kind of share with everybody, maybe, how you did it, how we did it. Just, I know you don't have to go into, great detail, but you can go into as much detail as you want, though. But a lot of agents, want to know how to sell more real estate, which we always trying to, help them sell more real estate, but also they want to start attracting agents. And a lot of agents on here are brand new. They've never attracted one single agent. So what are maybe a few tips and tricks maybe to help them be successful with their agent attraction business?
Well, you said a lot there, Pat, and thank you. And, it's really not about me and what I've done, because the opportunity is here for anyone. I think the most important thing that I've learned through building this is we have to be real with people. We have to be truthful, and agents need to understand what I call the valley of death. And we're talking to you about revenue share, right? I mean, if you want to sell more houses, go sell more houses. I don't know why you'd want to do that, but I'm here today to talk to you about revenue share, right? And how to build financial freedom. Now, if you need to sell more houses to pay your mortgage, absolutely, go do it. If you need to sell more houses to keep that kid in college, absolutely. But you have got to figure out a way to get off of that hamster wheel. And here's what I'm going to tell you. You are going to be grossly underpaid your first year to 2 years building revenue share. And that's what most people aren't going to tell you. But I believe in preparing people for battle. I believe in preparing people now there are people that are making $10,000, $20,000 a month their first year. And that's because they're going at it full time and they've got a lot of influence and they're leveraging that past influence and they're building quickly. If you don't have that, that doesn't mean you can't get it. And it doesn't mean you can't build this, but you have to understand that the first at least 1 year, you're not going to make the money in correlation with the effort that you put into this. But here's the good news. Very quickly, you're going to be grossly overpaid.
Right.
For the work you do in a massive way.
Yep.
Because it doesn't grow gradual. It grows exponential, right? It's not a curve. It's a launch pad. And when it starts to duplicate, it starts to go straight up. But there's a valley of death that's hidden between when you start and the exponential growth. Yep. And that's where most agents lose sight. They lose confidence. They lose their dream. They lose their passion. And they don't understand that it happens to everyone. Every single one of you are going to go through the valley of death. The question is, who's going to come out the other side as a winner and keep going?
That's right.
Right.
Yeah. Hey, Scott, I remember those late nights I wanted to give up too. And you always told me, how bad do you want it? How bad do you want it? You know, I think you always used to say the money's made in the weeds. And man, we were in the weeds for a long time, and it was frustrating. And I was beating my head up against the walls, like, oh my God, you know, I'm working 2 full-time jobs, selling real estate full-time and agent attraction full-time. And those late night calls, man, he would talk me out of it. You know, I wanted to quit. I wanted to throw the towel in, and he would talk me out of it, saying, hey, trust me, just hang in there, it'll be worth it. And thank God I didn't throw the towel in. He didn't let me do it. Thank goodness.
Yeah, and we all had those moments. Everyone has that moments. And so and the other thing that I would share with you is you should be listening to this call is if you're getting ready to teach this to every single person on your team tomorrow. Become passionate about learning. Become passionate about giving back. Become passionate about building leaders. I used to think the team just duplicates. And it was the whole 10 who get 10, right? You get 10 and they get 10. Well, how many of your team is growing like that? The truth is it never grows like that. Your team will grow in direct correlation with the leadership that duplicates. And if you're not growing the way you want to grow, guess what? It's an easy fix. Look in the mirror and change the person in the mirror and become a leader that other leaders want to follow. And quit trying to recruit people that are brand new to the business and thinking that they're going to be Pat Hayes, because it's not going to happen, at least not in the immediate future, right? So you have to attract leadership, and you do that by following the system. You do that, Ian, by staying in there and focusing on leaders, by staying there and being a leader. Because if you're hanging around leaders every single day, you become a leader. And when you become a leader, other leaders want to join forces with you. They want to know what you're doing. And the more leaders you attract, the faster your team grows, period. So, you know, it's really simple when you look at it in those terms. If you want to be like Pat Hayes, which you're never going to be, right? You're never going to be a Brent Gove. You're never going to be a Lori Powell. You're never going to be an Eric Flowers. You're never going to be a Dan, is it Copro? Yeah, you're going to be the best you can be. And that's what you have to focus on. This is all about building leadership. Forget about recruiting. Forget about selling houses. This is totally about becoming a leader. And if you become a leader that other leaders want to join forces with, you will get grossly overpaid.
Love it. So true, guys. Very true. Well, all right. So let's kind of shift gears a little bit and let's talk about the growth of EXP. Let's talk about, some of the updates with the revenue share that I know you wanted to share. And let's talk about, where we're going as a company. I know we're growing like crazy. Over 1,000 agents are joining EXP every single week. That's right, guys. If you don't know that, every single week we have 1,000 new agents joining EXP, not a quarter, not a month, every single week. You know, that's still puts us at the fastest growing brokerage firm in history right now. And, we're bringing on new countries. We're launching new countries. I mean, it's just incredible. We're bringing on new leaders. We're bringing on new brokerage firms, new teams, new agents, all the good stuff. So, Scott, I know you were out there at the event there in Puerto Rico. Unfortunately, I didn't get a chance to go due to COVID. But I wish I could have been there. But kind of do a little recap of the event, the updates. I know there was a lot of good information shared that you want to kind of share it here with the team, so we can kind of go back and share it with our teams.
Absolutely. And so, first of all, I want to share with you that the event was for anyone that had 2,000 people or more on their team. So think about that for just a minute. Think about it. And of course, Pat should have been there, but he couldn't because of COVID and traveling into Puerto Rico. But the people that were in that room and the power and the leadership that was in that room was pretty incredible. Matter of fact, I would say when you look back 10 years from now, on events and meetings, you're going to look back and go, that was like when Facebook got started, or that was like when Dell Computer got started, or that was like when, you know, what's his name at Google, if you read that book, and they sit down and had the brainchild for Google. I mean, this was the beginning of something very big.
Yep.
Very, very big. So I'm super excited to be in the room. I think there were about 15 agents in the room, plus several spouses. And then, of course, Glenn Sanford, Jeff Whiteside, Jason Gessing, Michael Valdez, might have been a couple more, Courtney Chakram, I think that's how you pronounce her last name. And so, and this was 3 days of grinding. Now we didn't work in the mornings, but every afternoon we worked from noon until late, and most people stuck around hours after. And it started out with, what do you guys want to talk about? What do you want to mastermind on? And that was the first couple hours. And as you can imagine, the list was really long. And I looked at Gene Frederick and I said, we could be here a couple of months. we're not going to get to all of these topics, right? But it was good. It was good because people were brainstorming and they're creating and they're thinking about things. And then we nailed it down to about 6 or 7 topics that we really wanted to focus on the next day. We broke down into small groups and we spent 2 or 3, 4 hours, each one of us, talking about those individual things. And a lot of things came out of this event, guys. You're going to see some massive changes coming. And when I say change, I'm talking about improvements. There was nothing that came out of this event. Nothing. I'm telling you, Chris Saunier, there was nothing that wasn't positive and creative and upbeat. This was not a bitch session. There was not anybody in the room that didn't want to grow this company and wasn't 100% committed to building this company to 500,000 agents, not one. And so a lot came out of it. I created a top 10 list, the top 10 things that came out of this event. There was certainly a lot more, but I want to share these top 10 with you. I've got them not in the order of importance, but I'm going to jump around on my list. So this might be a little time consuming, but I want to get through this for you. So number 1, EXP Golf Invitational in Maui next year. You will need to qualify. There's not one of you in this room that can't be there. And it'll be the next mastermind for the following year and for the growth. So make sure that you know what it takes to qualify and get qualified for that event. You're not going to want to miss that. Number 2, it's no longer EXP world. We are the EXP metaverse. We own the space.
I like that. That's cool.
There's no one else. It's us. So you're going to see some marketing come out around that. Number 3, there were a lot of talk or a lot of conversation about agents struggling to get into the world. And a lot of agents are using workplace and workplace chat instead of going into the world. And so they're going to create frames within workplace and workplace chat where you can click on a link and those frames will pop up on your phone and you'll be able to access your broker or your team leader or your transaction coordinator right through your phone. I think that's a big deal. I personally have no idea how that works or what that means, but I think it's a big deal. And so that's an improvement that's coming soon. Number 4, Glenn Sanford is 110% committed to never raising fees for the agents.
That's awesome.
He's also 110% committed to keeping the opportunity that we have exactly how it is and alive all the way to 500,000 agents. Number 5, Jeff Whiteside is committed to building enterprise and the back office so that it's much more functional. And for you guys that have big teams, so you can segregate your teams better, so you can build out better spreadsheets, so you can find out who's capping on your team really easy, so you can find out who's an icon agent on your team really easily, so you can find out who's done a deal the last 6 months in Conroe, Texas, or in the Woodlands, Texas, or in Birmingham, Alabama. And so you can break down all this information graphically so that you have that information at the touch of your finger. How many was that?
Let's see. That was number 5. You're on number 6 now.
Number 6. This is a big one that a lot of people are talking about. EXP putting out marketing, more and better marketing. And so they're committed to putting out nationwide marketing pieces, more geared towards recognition and acknowledgement of the top agents in each market, the top agents in each city, the top agents in each state, graphical images that you can share, growth models where you can see the markets that we're dominating in. I believe EXP now is the number 2 brokerage in San Antonio, Texas, and I can't wait for it to be number 1. And I believe that's going to happen this year.
I agree.
I'm excited about posting that on social media. How about you? So yes, a lot more marketing images coming out from the company that you'll be able to share on your social media. Was that 6?
Let's see. That was number 6. Yeah, you're on number 7.
I'm saving the best for last year.
All right.
So if you're recruiting internationally, and some of you may not know this, but every time you recruit into a different country, in the past, there's been what's called a company position. So if you recruit an agent in Spain, there's a company position between you and Spain, and that money goes towards growing the company in those markets and hiring brokers and creating the infrastructure that we need to develop those markets. And then if a person in Spain recruited someone in the United States, there would be another company position there. There are no longer any company positions when you recruit back to the United States. So anytime an agent on your team recruits someone in the United States, there is no company position. There's also no company positions when you recruit an agent in Puerto Rico or the Dominican Republic. There are also no company positions intercontinent. So if an agent in Spain recruits an agent for those of you that know your geography, in Germany or in other parts of Europe, there's no company positions in between those countries. That's huge for international growth. So for those of you that are focused on that, that's a huge, huge win.
Scott, could you explain company position?
I will. Let me get through all of these and then I'll be happy to answer questions. That should have been 8. Is that 8?
That was number 7. I think you're on number 8 now. Is that correct, guys?
Yes.
We're on number 8. We're on number 8. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that was number 8. I've only got 2 left on my list.
Okay.
These next 2 are huge. These next 2 are life-changing. The number 9 won't mean a lot to a lot of you now, but it's going to mean a ton to you in the future. If you've been with a company for 5 years and you've been at a level for 12 months, you can now retire and lock in all levels underneath.
Wow, that is huge.
So if you have been with a company for 5 years and you have 40 and you've locked in level 7, you can retire, lock in levels 1 through 6, and ride off into the sunset and never recruit another agent again.
Wow. That's huge.
How big is that? You are going to see agents at EXP start to retire in the next 12 months. And that will be huge, because that has been one of the biggest objections in recruiting is, well, with this model, you can never retire. Well, now you can.
Wow.
And many will. So
That's huge.
congratulations. Congratulations. That is the biggest win. I got to pat myself on the back. That was my idea 3 years ago. Took 3 years, but we got it done. So thanks for keeping the faith, and I'm excited about that. All right, who's ready for number one?
All right, let's do it. Let's hear it.
All right, number one. This is the biggest game changer in the history of real estate, Pat. This is, and you may have heard a little bit about this, but this changes the game. This changes your phone call this afternoon in a massive way. Massive. From now on, EXP, yes, we pay revenue share, right? It's 50-50. 50 cents of every single dollar goes back to the agents. That's a big deal.
Right.
It means the company's given back. That's always been that way. The company is given back 50 cents on every dollar to us, no matter what, every single month. That's paid out 7 levels. We are now the first real estate company in history to pay out 50% of all profits from affiliated services.
Wow.
50% of all profits from affiliated services. So here's the deal. When you talk to the RE/MAX agent or the Caldwell Banker agent or whatever agent, and they say, I've got a special deal and I'm at 100%. Well, how would you like to be at 125% or 150% or 250%? See, the influencers bring business to their brokerage. That's why they let them stay for 100%. The challenge is those influencers don't make any money from the brokerage. The brokerage is making money from those agents because the brokerage is leveraging those leaders and those agents to grow their business. Why did what's his name in San Antonio not want Pat to leave and not come to Keller Williams? Why was he willing to offer him 100%? Because he knew if Pat Hayes came, he would bring a lot of other people. He's smart.
Right.
Right. He knew if he got Pat Hayes, he would get 20 or 30 or 50 or 100 others over time. So he's willing to let him come for free. But he wasn't going to give you 50% of his mortgage company. He wasn't going to give you 50% of his title company. He wasn't going to give you 50% of success coaching. He wasn't going to give you 50% of the biggest lead generation company ever being created in the history of real estate. He wasn't going to give you 50% of all the coaching dollars that came into his company and all the title and all the mortgage. And the biggest one, in my opinion, 50% of all the money from the national transaction coordination business that EXP will own.
That's huge. Now, Scott, when does that go into effect?
Now.
Awesome.
It's done.
Huge. That's huge.
It's done. Now, something you need to understand, and thanks, Alan, for clearing that up. This will be distributed through RevShare. So those people earning RevShare will earn the percentages in direct correlation to their revenue share. You reward the people that build the company, right? You reward the people that are in the trenches. So it's direct correlation with your rev share, because we have seen the company over time start to not be able to pay all of the 7 level that you've seen in those numbers, because agents are capping out the 7 levels. Agents are hitting those 7 levels. And so more and more of the revenue share dollars have been being dispersed to the agents, which is left less money for the company to grow on. Well, now we all build affiliated services together. We all row the boat together. Why? Because our stock goes up and because our revenue share goes up in direct correlation to the growth of those companies.
That is massive. That is huge, guys. Wow.
That's it. Mic drop.
Love it. Love it. All right, guys. Well, Scott, that is amazing. We got about 7 or 10 minutes or so until the top of the hour. Then everybody can go to leadership though. But who's got a few questions for Scott? I know we can't answer every single question in the chat, but let's open it up to everybody. We've got about 7-10 minutes. Who's got a question for Scott? Let's not all bombard Scott. I know we still have 153 agents on. That's incredible. Ian, I think our max that I saw was 157 agents. So
Yeah,
it's our top number right now. That's incredible. So who wants to ask Scott Lewis a question?
don't be shy, guys.
Yeah, don't be shy. Come on, this is your time. That's why we do this.
Alfonso,
Yeah, I got a question.
how you doing,
I got a
buddy?
question for Scott.
Let's see. Yeah,
You
who's
guys hear
that?
me? Jay.
Hey,
Hey, go ahead.
Jay, how are you, brother? Good to see you.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. First of all, lots of great information there. You have no idea how excited I got when you told me all, especially the last 2 items there. That's huge, unbelievably huge. I heard of the rumors to the real meal through a few other people who said there's some big information from the meeting. I didn't realize was that. That's huge. Now, I do have one statement though, or rather a comment. Earlier in the middle of your conversation here, you were saying something about your backyard. Did you actually refer to the ocean as your pool? I don't know if anybody else got that, but earlier on, Scott actually said that, hey, the pool, my pool, my ocean in the background. So,
Ocean, yeah.
Pool. He has a pool.
Yeah,
He's got a pool. He's got a pool.
I'm just thinking to
He's got 2
myself, the possibility. And this is what is possible right there. So, Scott, if you're leading the way, I'm following.
Yes.
Appreciate you, Jay. Thank you for everything you do.
Thank you for pushing all that, Scott, because we the ones that have been here for a while, we know how hard it is. And for you to fight for us like that, that means a lot to us. So really appreciate you, Scott. And thank you for taking time out of your busy day to drop some knowledge on.
Yes.
Absolutely. Good to see you, Alfonso, as always.
Scott, I got one for you regarding to the rev share buffer. How is the company gonna, going forward, be able to keep the books balanced and all that? Because, I've looked at the numbers and there's roughly, 18,000 agents that have actually recruited one agent or more. And I guess where I'm going with this is there's a big gap between agents that are at the company that are not participating in revenue share, and then the 17,000 agents that are participating in revenue share and earning revenue share. So my question is, why does there continue to be a buffer when there's, a small portion of the entire agent count that are actually receiving revenue share? How are they handling that?
That's a great question. I mean, it's not something we're handling. It's just something we're adjusting to. When you take the top 20 income earners in the company, the majority of the people that are in the company are somewhere on those people's 7 levels.
Yeah.
So it's not about how many people are getting one. It's about all the people in the company that have thousands and have hundreds, and they're continuing to open up more levels. Well, Glenn, when he built this, he never dreamed that 20 or 30 people would get to 40. He thought 40 was untouchable, which, we have just proven that it doesn't matter what the mark you set, we're going to go out and accomplish it, right? Because everybody wants to make more money, and that's the reason they came here. That's the reason the company is growing, in my opinion, is because of that leadership and the people that we're attracting that want to max out the revenue share. And so every time someone opens up the 7th level, that's more money that's coming from the company in the 50%. So obviously we offset that with something that it's not a buffer. We're not calling it a buffer anymore. Get rid of that terminology.
Okay.
We're now calling it revenue share plus. Okay. So everything we do moving forward is rev share plus. It's guaranteed 50%. Forget about the buffer. just in your mind, it never existed, right?
Yeah. Okay.
The company's always said we need 50% to live on. That's
Yeah.
reasonable. That's reasonable, right? The company is investing in other products and other companies as well that make us better, that make us stronger. They're investing in international and losing money in international so we can grow and develop in international. When we opened in Spain, the company lost money, but I just recruited 4 agents in Spain this week that make me money. And I'm going to turn those 4 agents into 4,000 agents in Spain. So you have to change your narrative around this, guys. You have to, because if your team adopts that narrative, then your team is going to go, they're going to get focused on the wrong thing. So look, it's RevShare Plus. 50% of every dollar that comes into the company gets paid back to us. That's huge. Nobody else does that. You think 50 cents of every dollar in profit share gets paid back to the agents at Keller?
Nope.
No, it's around 6 cents from what I understand. 6 cents of every dollar at Keller. So we're 44 times better than what Keller is getting, because we eliminated that overhead. We eliminated the brick and mortar. But we can't let the golden goose die, right? Now we could sit here and argue all day, that the company maybe is spending more money than it should. But the fact is, they have 50 cents on every dollar to go and invest in our company and to buy other companies and to grow our company, so we all make more money in stock, right? Because if the company grows and successful, if just one other company like Burbella explodes like EXP did, our stock quadruples. So that's a win-win for all of us as well. But 50 cents of every dollar in rev share, 50 cents in every dollar in profit from all the affiliated services now comes back to the people that are growing the company.
Hey Scott, I have a question.
Go ahead.
Was there any talk about any like future stock splits or stuff like that, or any future acquisitions?
Yeah, I really can't talk about that.
Yep.
Mark, you have your hand up. You want to open up your mic?
Yeah. Hey guys. Hey Scott. You spoke about, selling houses and agent attraction, and I totally agree. Like, I definitely need to put more time into agent attraction, but financially I do need to sell houses. What would be your advice to me to get the ball rolling on agent attraction, or, what would be like that first step to get this show rolling?
Become the best agent on the side of the deal and attract every agent you do a deal with.
Love it.
Make that your mission.
Love it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Scott, real quick, I have a question. I had an agent just text me. They had to get off real quick, but they said, ask Scott if we still need to keep our license active if we retire.
Well, that's a good question. That conversation did come up. You will, the position that you own, in order to get paid legally, revenue share, because that's a commission, will always require a license.
Okay.
So it's part of your exit strategy. You should be thinking about someone in your family getting a license that can take over that position, or there have been some people that have passed away that were making revenue share and they didn't have that locked in, and the company was able to find them a trust that would manage that position with a license and pay out the revenue share to the owner of that position for a fee. And I think the going fee for that is about 1 or 2%. So it's not a big deal, but you really don't want to. I mean, when you've been with the company for 5 years, and if you have a big revenue share, you should start thinking about, protecting what you've built.
Sure thing. Okay. Yep. Good answer.
Great question.
Guys. Yep. We got time for maybe one or two more questions, and then we'll let Scott go. I know it's a Friday. I definitely respect everybody's time. I've got to run to my lunch and learn here in just a little bit, though. But who's got 1 or 2 more questions for Scott, and we'll let him go.
Hey there, Scott. Robert Whitekill, San Diego. How are you, buddy?
Robert, it's great to see you, man. How are you? Love the background picture.
Yeah, you know what? It's all about helping people get to where they need to go. I tell you, I just wanted to thank you. If there was no more questions, I wanted to thank you so much for sharing these huge nuggets, huge. And just thank you, all of you, for everything you do for us on a continual basis. it gives me goosebumps just to know I'm a part of this organization. So I want to thank you with the bottom of my heart, brother.
Well, thank you, Robert, for everything you're doing. And yeah, it's mutual, right? I mean, when you get to a point, you know, where this company can take you, you want to give back. And that picture is a perfect example of just reach down. If you can just reach down and grab one person and pull them up to your level, think about that. And if they do that, and if that person does that, and if that person does that, you've changed lives. And that's what we're doing, guys. We are changing lives.
I want to say real quick, thank you, Scott. You changed my life. You showed me the plan the first time and then invited me out for drinks afterwards. Guys, you don't realize how lucky you are to have this guy in your upline. Thank you for being there. Thank you, Pat, Ian. It's such a family that I'll never leave, that y'all are permanent to me.
Love it.
Thanks,
Like,
sir.
I'll chime in and echo those comments too.
like
I
we
feel
all,
very blessed to be
everybody-
part of this family. So, you know,
Ditto.
Do me a
a
favor,
family of
right?
choice.
No, Chris, you're awesome. I appreciate you, and your leadership is instrumental in everything we're building here and what you've done. And I mean, man, we've grown this together. You've been a pillar of this of success. You're an amazing leader. Anybody that has you as a sponsor or has you as part of their leadership team is blessed, and you continue to pave the way for others, and that's great. Everybody, do me a favor, really quickly. Log into Facebook right now, go into Team Disruptor, and tell Pat Hayes what an incredible leader he is, how awesome his Friday call is. And if you missed it, you should be kicking yourself right now, because this is the place to be on Fridays. Thanks, guys. I'm out, Pat.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. I love you.
appreciate it. Yeah.
Come to Puerto Rico, man.
Yes, let's go. Hey, everybody, tag Ian as well too. Ian and I do this together. We tag team this call together every single Friday, and he was the one that came up with it. We've been doing it for 4 years, and we're having fun. So thank you, Ian. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Scott. Love you guys. Happy Friday. Happy Freedom Friday. Go out, have an amazing weekend, and we'll see you back here next Friday. Take care, guys. Love you guys.